Welcome to the Heidi Thorne Show. I'm your host, Heidi Thorne, and in this podcast, I share my real-world self-publishing and small business experience with you. So let's get started with today's show. Now, today's show is kind of a road trip because I am reviewing the new Amazon 4-star store, physical store that has just opened in Brook Center Mall in the Chicago area, which is not too far from me. So the store, according to the news articles, was going to contain technology, electronics, small home appliances, some games, and some best-selling books. So, of course, I had to go and find out what was going on with this store. So I get to the store, and ironically, it is in the same spot that used to house the Sears Roebuck store. I don't know if it can get more ironic than that. So the titan of the retail industry from the last century is now being occupied by the titan of the retail industry online in the same spot. Okay. So I get to the store, and as advertised, there is a lot of technology, all the Kindle gadgets, all the Alexa-enabled devices, some electronic games, very few books, by the way. You know, they were saying that they were going to have their top-selling books. I don't know how many they included, but I mean, I didn't count I probably could have counted them on two. It didn't seem like very many. The other devices that they had were like the Ring doorbell and some, like cables and accessories for phones and things like that. And then there were tables of today's deals. Now, I'm really puzzled as to why Amazon would want to do these stores. Now, the 4-star name comes from the fact that all the items that they feature have a 4-star or higher rating, average rating. So I think that's so that people can understand that these are top-rated items. And of course, since Amazon carries millions of items and books, this is a very small sampling of those. So there's really no way you can game it to say, okay, well, my book, my self-published book has a 4 or 5-star average rating. Why isn't it in the store? Well, the footprint of the store is very, very small. It's occupying only a small bit of what used to be the Sears store. So there's not a lot of space for inventory and warehousing and things like that. So yeah, there's not going to be any self-published books there. I'm just telling you right now. And there aren't many of the big best-selling books either. There just weren't a whole lot of them. There were games and, some of the devices and things, but it looked kind of, I don't know, chaotic. I mean, we had the today's deals, and, I went on a weekday afternoon, and there were a lot of people there, kind of milling about, nothing, I don't know. I'm really confused as to why they're doing this, because, it's not like, we also have in the Chicago area a few iterations of the Amazon Go stores, which are kind of like a convenience store. And my husband has used those, and he said they are just fantastic for in and out. You just, log in, you come out, super fast and wonderful. But this is like more of an experience type store. And I don't know if this was my first experience with Amazon. I don't know if I'd be impressed, because it didn't, like I said, it was a really small kind of store, and it was stuff I could get elsewhere, so it wasn't anything unique, but I kind of understand why they want to be in this particular mall. Simply because there are other technology companies also represented in this mall. There is a huge Apple store, and it is beautiful. And if you're talking about an experience store, that is it. I mean, I've gotten, I don't know how many Apple devices there. They were in one part of the mall years ago, and then they moved to this bigger location. Oh my God, it is just a super beautiful store. And there's also a Microsoft store, and there's also a Tesla store. So there is a lot of technology type companies represented there. So I can understand why they want to be there, but I don't know if this is a really good representation of it. I would understand totally if it was just the Amazon, like Alexa and Kindle gadgets, and make it more of an experience store. It just, I don't know. I mean, with the today's deals things and stuff going, I just didn't, it's not a store I would probably go back to. And you know that I am an Amazon fangirl, but I just don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this experiment goes through for the holiday season that's upcoming as I'm recording this. And I know what it reminded me of. More like a pop-up shop. You know, that's a big retail kind of trend where stores will, you know, set up shop for a limited period of time, either to take advantage of seasonality or some other economic or market factors. And then they close down when it's no longer viable. And that's what it seemed like to me, although it looked like a more permanent installation. And the walls are black, and I don't know. Okay, I think I've said enough, but there's, I guess, 2 of these stores in the Chicago area, so I don't know how they're going to fare. If I have any updates on that, or I have other experiences with them, of course, I'll let you know. But I just think it's really interesting. So anyway, I hope you found this helpful, or at least interesting. As self-published authors, you won't be in this store at all. You don't even have to think about it or worry about it. And it's definitely not a bookstore. So if you did like this podcast and my little road trip adventure, please rate and review The Heidi Thorne Show on Apple Podcasts. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to The Heidi Thorne Show on your favorite podcast platform. I'm on Apple Podcast and Spotify and Stitcher and Podbean and EddiePod. So, you know, pick your favorite and subscribe so you don't miss one of these episodes. And I would appreciate it if you would share The Heidi Thorne Show with your friends on social media. And the video version of the podcast is on YouTube. You just have to subscribe to my Heidi Thorne YouTube channel and make sure that you click the little notification bell or notification settings and turn those on so that you get notifications when I have a new episode out. And of course, share the video with your friends on social media. My books are on Amazon, of course, where I want them to be, and for online sales. So my print books, ebooks, and audiobooks are on Amazon. My audiobooks are on Audible and Apple Books. All you have to do on any of those 3 retail sites are just search for my name, Heidi Thorne, and my author page will come up and you'll see all the books there. If you'd like to connect with me, my website is very simply HeidiThorne.com. Thank you so much for listening and for your support. I'll look forward to talking with you again in the next episode. And in the meantime, have a great day.